I'm Becky Johnson with Sweetheart Quilt Design Company, and we're here today to have a little more fun with our myth busting. So one of the things that I've heard is that you never want to be able to see the quilting on the back of the quilt. And some of you that may sound really familiar, and others of you might be really surprised by that. I think with the advent of the computerized quilting designs, that is fading away more because the designs are prettier, more intricate, and more precise. But if you really feel that way, one option is to buy a busy back. And then you can see the indentation lines from the quilting, but you're not going to be able to see the actual quilting. So that's one solution to that, of not wanting to see the quilting on the back. Now, one thing people suggest is, well, why not use a light thread on the top and a darker thread on the back? Say I have a quilt down here that has a black back to it, and why not just use the darker thread on the back? And the problem with that is this. When you're sewing on your sewing machine and you're sewing a straight line, or on a quilting machine with a straight line, then the tension is, if you've got it adjusted correctly, is real even. And the little loops meet in the middle of the fabric. So you don't see loops on the top and you don't see loops on the bottom. But when you're going around curves, whether it's on a domestic machine or a long arm, it puts different pulls on the thread. And so you might have tiny loops, and we're not talking anything big. And if you're using all one color of thread, you'll never even see them. But if you have black thread on the bottom and there's little tiny bits of it that pull through, it's going to look like just kind of ragged polka dots or something. And the same thing on the back. If you have a dark back and you have the white pulling through, it's not going to look good. So you have to be careful that you don't make the back of the quilt look good, although even in this case it wouldn't necessarily, because you'd still get the dots on the back. But you don't want to ruin the front of your quilt in order to have the quilting not show on the back. And I want to show you just a few examples of being able to see the quilting on the back and how fun it can be. So this one I quilted with Cuddle, or Minky. It's kind of the generic name. I mean, it's a brand name, but and so you can't see the thread, but you can see the design in that, and that's fun. I mean, think of children's quilt with little trucks or animals or whatever you want to put on them. So it's really fun to be able to see the backing of the quilt and to see the quilting design. You can use a plain Cuddle and end up with a beautiful back on it. And then here's another example. This is the Beyond the Basics class. This was my original quilt that I made for it. And I custom quilted this. And here you can see that, like, for instance, in these setting triangles here, I put a hummingbird design. And it just looks cool. And a big flower in the middle, different designs. Some of this is computerized and some of it's free motion. I used a dark green in the border, which is difficult to see, but that shows, and leaves here in dark green. Funny, cute little triangle designs. So you can see that the back can actually be quite beautiful. I have a friend who does show quilting, and her goal is to actually make the back as beautiful as the front. So anyway, just some thoughts. Think about it. Have fun with that idea, and we'll see you next time.